Hello, hello. All right, people are going to be going ahead and trickling in, but so excited everybody's here today. So folks are going to come in, they're joining, right after work or whatever else is going on. But so excited everyone's here. I usually like to do a warm-up question before kind of going into a webinar. So as folks are joining us and we get things set up, the warm-up question for today is, what are you thankful for? If you could just go ahead and drop what you're thankful for in the chat. It can be dinner. It can be, being able to be at home in the evening. It can be really simple. Thankful for health, possible vaccine in the next few months. Watercolors. Awesome. Yeah, I feel like I'm really getting into different icebreakers, and it's a nice way to kind of break up than just jumping into kind of a discussion here. But yeah, some really great answers here. Breaks. Thankful for students, a heated house. I love it. I'm thankful for I get to work from home. It's pretty cold in Chicago these days. And the only reason I went outside today was to take out my recycling. So I know that is a privilege. But yeah, folks are going to be joining and coming in, but strong internet connection. Love it. Yeah. So yeah, thanks so much. And feel free to kind of drop comments in throughout. I would love, I think I just made Marcella co-host. So Marcella, if you want to go ahead and get the presentation up, and we'll just go ahead and kick off from there. Oh, health and a life. Great answers, everybody. Okay, let's see. And let me know if you have any issues, Marcella, getting it. There you go. Awesome. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Great, awesome. Thanks so much. I feed off of energy, so I love the thumbs up. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. So I'm going to learn this evening too, because I don't know a whole lot about Nearpod. I first learned about it at our virtual conference. So yeah, this evening we're going to get a chance to kind of understand what Nearpod is, what benefits you get from CSTA Plus, and a little bit of a demo of how to use it. Awesome. Next slide, please. Oh, fancy. Yeah, so I did not make these slides. So my name is Kate. You probably see emails from me inviting you to things or things about your membership. I'm here to make your experience great. I try and bring these opportunities. Thanks, Marcella. I try and bring these opportunities as well as kind of strengthen your membership and some exciting things coming up in the new year. That's a bit about me. I'd like to take this moment to introduce our other presenters from Nearpod today. Ike, are you on the call?
So Ike actually had a personal family emergency, so he's not with us here today. But many of you guys, if you have participated in these CSTA previous Nearpod webinars, you probably saw him. He is one of our awesome presenters. As you can see with his little title there, he's our Director of Partnerships. So he works really well with all of you guys who are part of CSTA. He is also a former teacher and principal, and also a vocabulary songwriter and performer, which if you're kind of thinking like, I don't know what vocab is, I will make sure to show you what that is here today. So yes, he's pretty cool. He's pretty awesome.
Nice. And who are you?
Oh, yeah. And so my name is Marcella Labrador. I am a Nearpod brand ambassador, which means that I get to hang out with you guys all day and I get to show you the ropes about Nearpod and vocabulary and really make sure that you guys know what you have access to and what you can do with this platform given your teaching and learning circumstances currently. On top of that, I was a former teacher as well. And I also was a professional development specialist. So education and PD put together is kind of what brought me to Nearpod, and I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Thanks so much. Yeah, if you want to hit the next slide. So yeah, I'm just going to go over a few kind of agenda items and housekeeping so you know what to expect today. For those that are joining us a couple minutes in the chat, we had an icebreaker about what you're thankful for if you're looking at that. But for today, a few housekeeping things is I'm recording this webinar. So no worries, your faces aren't going to be in the webinar or anything. It's just you speaking. So we'll have this available later, as well as the slide decks with clickable links. Other things is we ask that you keep on mute, but at the end, if we have some questions and you prefer, to kind of ask them out loud, that's okay. Other than that, usually I have all my housekeeping things up here, but it's been quite a day. Is throughout the chat, if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in. Yeah, but then we're just going to go over, if you want to hit the next slide. So I want to kind of, before we get into like the demo, is just so you have this in mind before we figure out like, what is Nearpod? How do I use it? Is right off the bat, like for CSTA Plus members, there's a 4-month trial of Nearpod Gold, which if you're like, what is that? We'll talk about, or I'm hoping Marcella will talk about the different levels, but it gets you access to a whole lot of things and a $25 promo voucher and Flowcabulary. Now, if you're not a Plus member, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and drop my email in the chat. And if you reach out to me and you're a basic member, I will give you a discount code because I want to make sure that PD is accessible for all. So just to kind of go over, this is what's available is like you'd be able to kind of check out the platform for free, see if it's kind of worth it for you in your classroom and presentations. We'll go over that today and how to redeem it. I'll share this in the chat as Marcella is talking, is the link to get your CSTA benefits. It's going to prompt you to log in to see your redeem instructions. Other than that, for today, our aim is to be under an hour. We'll go through a demo and feel free to ask questions, but really excited you're here. Do I have another slide, Marcella? I don't remember.
So
I think it's,
yeah,
I
I just added in case you guys were wondering where you can clearly register. I just added in, you guys will get access to my slide deck here in a little bit. So again, within that access, you will also be kind of sent to the CSTA site where you can definitely, utilizing that discount code that Kate was mentioning, sign up to be a CSTA Plus member. And that is where you're going to get all that access to those 4 months of Gold Nearpod and that $25 promo code. So just letting you know, if you're kind of thinking like, I don't know what that website looks like or where to go, it's already in the slide deck for you. So once you kind of walk your way through it and I provide you with this afterwards, my actual resources, you will have that link readily available for you guys to be able to sign up. Awesome. Great. Okay, so this is what I'd love for you to do. Ooh, we already got some Nearpod pros. I like it. Okay, so for those of you who are not quite familiar with what Nearpod is, I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. But in order to participate and to actually feel and experience the Nearpod magic the way your students would, I would love for you guys to join in. We already have 2 people joined in, so shout out to Kaya and Keisha, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through how you can join my Nearpod lesson currently. And then from there, you'll be able to experience Nearpod as a student. And on top of that, I will then be able to provide you with my resources and my slide deck at the end of today's session. So the first thing that you're seeing right now is that I've actually launched this lesson live, which means that you guys are able to participate with me live right now utilizing this web conference tool that we're on, Zoom. Now, with that, there are 3 different ways that you can actually join a Nearpod lesson. The first way is that you can actually go to join.nearpod.com by opening up a new tab, and then it's going to prompt you to actually enter in a 5-character code. This 5-character code is going to be specific to my lesson and my lesson only. Now, if you are, obviously you guys are teachers, but if you're a teacher that happens to use district-wide a specific learning management system, please note that you can actually push out any assignment to your students using our integrations with Google Classroom, Remind, or Microsoft Teams. And then of course, if any of you guys happen to use a different type of learning management system, I know I was district-wide when I taught it for Schoology. So with Schoology, again, you can still push out any Nearpod lesson to your students by simply clicking on this hyperlink icon, in which case we've got this nice, beautiful hyperlink already highlighted for you. You simply just press copy, and then you can paste this into Class Dojo, Seesaw, Schoology, whatever you prefer when it comes to promoting a specific Nearpod lesson that you would like your students to participate in. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead, because I no longer am a teacher, so I don't have a learning management system. I'm going to just plop that code right into the Zoom chat. So this is the easiest way for both you and your students to join any Nearpod lesson. Go ahead and click on that hyperlink that you see in the Nearpod chat. For some reason, if at any point in time you are trying to click on the hyperlink and it is not allowing you to join the Nearpod lesson, don't stress. You can simply just copy and paste that hyperlink into a new tab, in which case now you will be able to participate by just copying and pasting that hyperlink into a brand new tab, which is actually exactly what I'm going to do right here. And I'm going to actually join my session as a student as well, so that you guys can see back to back what the teacher's perspective and the student perspective looks like when it comes to Nearpod. Awesome. So hopefully you guys are seeing on the student side of my Zoom screen, that's the right-hand side, that you guys were also put into my lesson and having to type in your first and last name. I'm going to go ahead and select join lesson, and automatically what you're seeing is that best practices with Nearpod is a 100% participation and engagement. And in order to do that, we want to hook them right from the top. And so what I've got here for you is a matching pairs, in which case you can see the directions, say, please match the correct answer to the appropriate statement, simply clicking on your choice and then clicking its possible match. No need to drag and drop. If you want to remove these directions, you simply select the upward arrow, and now you can click. If it turns red, you got it wrong. If it turns green, you got it right. And of course, as the teacher, as I'm just clicking away, you can tell I'm clearly guessing. I'm getting none right. Oh no, what a disaster. I want you to know that I'm doing this on purpose, which is fine. And so I'm able to see as a teacher, once you guys have all joined my lesson, I'm gonna exit out that, oh, where's my little student? There she is. Marcella Labrador has 19 tries. Okay, so this is what's so amazing about Nearpod, is not only is it interactive, but you also, as the teacher, you get real-time data immediately. So imagine, again, this is a wonderful way to introduce to your students a brand new topic or a brand new unit that you are going to be teaching them. Immediately, you can identify who got 4 out of 4, Nancy, good job, and who's hit 100% in 4 tries, Naomi, awesome, versus who might be my kiddos, aka Marcella Labrador, who just prayed and guessed, and she's not going to be getting her 100% in the grade book, because although she might have hit 4 out of 4, when it comes to her matches, that clearly shows me, based off of her tries, that she is not truly proficient in this specific skill or in this academic terminology when it comes to the unit in which we are about to introduce and teach her. All right, so there is just one quick intro. I always encourage you having something fun for the students to be doing that's related to your topic as the rest of their peers are joining the lesson. Some of our students join quicker than others, and so you don't want them to just stare at a static screen. Instead, you want them to start engaging with your content immediately from the get-go. Great job, guys. On top of that, just a really quick little thing. I want to make sure that you guys know that there are 21 of us in this Zoom meeting today, which simply just means that as a teacher, I'm probably going to want to strive for 100% participation, right? So I can actually see on the left-hand side in the lower left-hand corner how many of my students have joined my Nearpod lesson. So I see that I have 18 out of my 21 students in my Nearpod lesson. This is a wonderful way, again, for remote learning to be able to have somewhat of a classroom management, support system. So you can identify who are you waiting on, who still needs to join, and how many of your students have not yet joined before you should get started with your content. For time purposes, I'm going to go ahead and get started, but if you guys would like to join, I'll make sure to 100% go ahead and paste that hyperlink one more time into the Zoom chat if you would like to join. So really quickly, I've got a Collaborate board out here for you. This is one of my favorite features. This Collaborate board is actually going to be an electronic version of our parking lot styled activity. I know I was a former high school teacher. So again, like you guys, teaching high school kids, many of times we want our kids to get up and active and moving around. And so you probably did a parking lot styled activity where you put poster boards on each wall and then provided your students with Post-its where they could write their questions, their answers, their prompts, their ideas, and then paste it onto each poster board, right? So this is actually an electronic version of that. It's called the Collaborate board. And on the teacher's side, you can actually see that it's prompting me, the teacher, to say, hey, would you like to approve these student comments before they're posted to the rest of the class? So again, because we teach high school, and I also taught high school, sometimes we can say, you know what, I'm gonna trust these kids today. But some days you're like, nope, that class clown is not today. It's not happening. So you can choose whether you want to approve student comments and posts prior to it being posted to everyone, or if you don't want to. But I trust you guys here today. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. And what I would love you to do is just, again, provide a response based off the prompt. Here we have remote learning successes and challenges. What were some of the teaching challenges you faced during the school closures? What resources did you leverage to support your ability to deliver high quality instruction in a remote environment? No right or wrong answer. Just let me know what you've been using, what's been working, and what hasn't been working. And then I will also model how you can type. You can type answers at the very bottom, type answer here, and I'm going to press submit, but of course that's not an actual response. Yay. Okay, perfect. Awesome. We use Google Classroom. So the new breakout rooms and polls have been great. Wonderful. Students without internet access. Yes. Desmos. Yeah. Google Classroom. Wonderful, guys. You guys have got some great stuff that you are utilizing with your high schoolers. Google Classroom, converting math to online. Love Nearpod, but wish it had a co-teacher feature. Mary, don't you worry. We have gotten that a lot. So it is on the docket, but it is not yet released. So please note that is coming. Lack of student participation and necessary internet access and equipment were the biggest challenge. Absolutely. Variances in students' devices, phone, iPad, laptop, Chromebooks. Yes. Internet access, strong, weak, intermediate. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Google Jamboard. Yeah, we loved Google Jamboard. Equity issues. Absolutely, Kate. I am all for that. Collaborate Google Docs. Ooh, that's fun, Pauline. I'm a K through 8 teacher, but want to use with my kids. Absolutely, John. You can use this with your kids. We are K through 12 accessible, no problem at all. And I will make sure to highlight some specific activities that are specific to maybe more of the little kids rather than the big kids. Google Classroom, wonderful. Physical computing was hard. I'm glad there were emulators such as MakeCode and Microbit. Awesome. That's so fun, Kaya. I love that. Okay, wonderful, guys. You guys are on it. So this is our first activity besides matching pairs that you can see. Again, given this circumstance, I am actually retrieving information from you guys to make sure that I hopefully answer this within our next hour together, but utilize this as however you want. So this could easily be that parking lot styles check for understanding. This could easily have been a Collaborate board, a bell ringer, right? At the very beginning of a specific lesson that you're about to introduce. Maybe you want it to be more of a bell ringer, activating prior knowledge about the content that maybe they learned yesterday that you hopefully they're going to add on to today. This could also be an exit ticket or a great way to just say, hey, maybe there's no prompt, there's no question. It just simply says questions. And that's where you're going to have your students ask any top questions that are still lingering in their brains for you to be able to prep and have those responses and those answers ready for tomorrow's lesson. So again, please note that there's so many different ways in which you can utilize all of our specific features. I'm going to try my very best to show you as many possible features as you possibly can, and then provide you also with ideas as to how you can utilize it. What I do want to show you really quickly is if you want to direct your attention to the Zoom screen really quick, hopefully you can see on the right-hand side, that's the student side. We are seeing tons of posts, but we are not seeing names attached to it. That is on purpose. Here at Nearpod, on the student perspective or the student's experience, everything is completely anonymous. We want to make sure that we are providing 100% participation. And so anonymity is really key to those students to make sure that they feel comfortable and that it's a safe and welcoming space, that no one's going to make fun of them if they answer incorrectly or if they have a kind of a unique idea. So again, please note that everything on your end as a student currently today will be anonymous, but on the teacher's end, I get to see all of my students' names attached to each individual submission, both in real time and in our post-session report as well. Awesome. So as we move forward, I would just love to know, again, gathering information about you, what and how familiar are you with Nearpod? So what is your familiarity? How familiar are you with Nearpod? It does not matter. You can definitely answer very honestly. Are you a Nearpod Pro or are you a Nearpod no? In which case you are brand new to Nearpod and you are just sitting here and you are about to learn something brand new. It is completely fine. We are really excited no matter what, no matter where you're at. We're going to take it slow and we're going to make sure that you guys guys leave here hopefully feeling like Nearpod pros or aspiring to become Nearpod pros. Wonderful. So as you can see on the teacher's perspective, I'm actually getting your guys' responses in real time. So this is helping me pivot my lesson, my session in real time to your guys' needs. I'm catering to your needs just like you would cater to your students' needs. So here what we've got is many of you guys are selecting C. So C is I've heard about it or I've seen it in action, but I'm not too familiar, which is wonderful. We've got 1 or 2 people who are saying, hey, I'm brand new to Nearpod. A couple of us that are saying, I've used Nearpod before, but I'm not quite a pro just yet. And we've got a Nearpod pro, Mary, I appreciate you, and make sure that you know that we've got 1 hour here together. So if you need anything from me, Mary, definitely ask in the chat box. As if you are a Nearpod Pro, this might be somewhat of a review for you, but definitely know that I'm here to support you with your more advanced questions afterwards. And what I love about this is not only do I get instant feedback from the teacher's perspective, but I mean, talk about students. They always want their immediate feedback, right? They love when you grade those quizzes literally in a passing period, or they think you can grade a quiz in a passing period. And they come afterwards and they're like, hi, Miss L, did you grade my quiz yet? And I'm like, in what time, girlfriend? No, I have not graded your quiz. Ask me in 2 days. And yes, maybe I'll have it graded by then. So again, that immediate feedback is so incredibly crucial for those students. They love it. And so you can share out those responses. And so automatically you can see on your student screen that you also are able to identify with the rest of your class. If 36% of us have actually heard about Nearpod but haven't yet used it, again, all of that anxiety, all of that fear kind of goes away as you realize, oh, majority of my class is in the same boat as me. Perfect. So we're going to take it slow, and it's going to be a great whole class experience together. So this is honestly has nothing to do with Nearpod, but it's one of my favorite quotes. And I think it's really, really crucial and important right now as we're all in these really crazy, unique times that we could have never anticipated. But I love this quote. It says, great learning is driven by great teaching, regardless of the method of delivery. I think, again, we are now in the thick of it. I feel like we are prepared, but again, 9 months ago, March, school closures. I think many of us felt like we were really handcuffed and we were really at this part in life where we didn't know how to teach. We didn't know if we were being effective. We didn't know if our students were learning at all at the very beginning of this remote learning circumstance. And so I just want you to know that no matter what you're doing, your teachers are 100, or your students are 100% learning. Great learning is of course, driven by great teaching, regardless of method of delivery. So even though this is new to you, remote learning is not probably what you signed up for. We are all brand new teachers again this year. Please note that no matter how you deliver this information, they are learning and they are appreciative of all of the hard work that you are doing to make sure that you are able to provide this information to them in an engaging and fun way. So when it comes to lesson planning with Nearpod, just a high level overview, we've got multiple options for you as teachers. So depending on the content you teach, the subject you teach, the grade levels you teach, I know we've got some high school kids, some K-8 students, teachers here today. You have the opportunity to not have to reinvent the wheel, which is so crucial because we all know that teachers don't have time. We do not have time to be creating a physical classroom setting lesson, a hybrid lesson, and a remote lesson. We don't have that time to have 3 different lessons going on all at the same time. That's a lot of organization. And again, time is of the essence. So we want you to know here at Nearpod that you are able to take any of your previous content, all of the content that you've created in the last couple of years, you can take that content and you can just sprinkle some Nearpod on it. And then you've taken it from what was a normal physical classroom setting experience, and you've automatically pushed it into what is now a remote learning experience by sprinkling in some Nearpod. So please note that you can actually take your own Google Slides, your own PowerPoints, your own videos, and you can Nearpodize it. That's what we like to call it. Sprinkle some Nearpod on there. And then from there, it's becoming engaging, interactive, and you're going to receive that real-time feedback no matter the learning circumstances. And then on the flip side, many of you guys, again, might be teaching even more subjects than what you normally teach just due to the circumstances in which we're in, and it's all hands on deck. So if you are looking to find some pre-made lessons, we have a lesson library, over 8,500 lessons and videos created for you already, K through 12th grade, standards aligned, core curriculum plus more. And I will show you some of that more section here in a little bit that you guys can actually download and add to your library and customize and modify it best for your students, depending on where they're at and exactly how you prefer to teach specific units and curriculum. And then lastly, I know I keep talking about this Nearpodizing or the sprinkling of Nearpod engaging features. And so this is just showing you, again, a nice visual. I'm a visual learner, of our 20 plus ways in which you can enhance your already pre-created instruction. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can literally take what you've already used last year in a physical classroom setting, and you can actually embed any of these formative assessments to get real-time data. And then on top of that, you can embed any of this media and content specific features that help promote teaching in an engaging way, even in a remote circumstance. So as you can see, you've already participated in a poll, you've participated in the matching pairs, you participated in a collaborate board, already 3 engaging ways to already enhance your lessons based off of the content and the information in which you are wanting to gather from your students. And then of course, I will show you some more of these awesome engaging features such as our PhET simulations for science and math manipulatives or virtual labs, our Desmos integration for graphing calculators, our VR virtual reality field trips that I know I used as a foreign language teacher, taking my students to Machu Picchu or taking them to the tip top of a slope mountain to talk about slope intercept form. And so of course, again, for K through 8 kids, this is a wonderful way to really build that schema, take them to the grocery store, have them practice their addition and subtraction when counting the lettuce heads at a grocery store. So again, there's so many different ways in which you can utilize these features to really make your lessons and your curriculum come to life. And then one I really want to enhance and show you guys really quickly is this web content feature. This web content feature actually allows you to embed any website or any platform that you've used in the past that you really truly love into your Nearpod lesson. So the reason being is that we want to make sure that you are able to actually get rid of multi-tab teaching. Specifically right now during remote learning, that's when students are disengaged. When we give them that millisecond to kind of just tab out and check out something else while we're waiting for our YouTube channel to load, we want to make sure that you can embed all of that stuff from videos to websites within your Nearpod lesson. So it's a seamless experience for both you. You don't have to fumble with lots of tabs, but also for your students to maintain their engagement. So again, as I mentioned, again, this is just a quick review. I want you to know that you can take the same lesson and you can flex between in-class, at home, hybrid, remote. It doesn't matter. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and have multiple different lessons. As long as your students have a device, whether that's a cell phone, a tablet, or a computer, and that device has internet access, you can share out any lesson to them and they can actually participate from anywhere in the world as long as they are connected to your lesson through that 5-character code or that hyperlink that I posted in the Zoom chat. So you're going to wonder how you ever taught without it, because again, this really enhances your students to be interactive, to be engaged. It's actually having them show up and have to participate, right? When you're naturally just utilizing a PowerPoint or a Google Slides, of course, the expectation is that you are teaching them and that you're going to gather information afterwards. But what I love so much about Nearpod is that the expectation now for students is that not only do they have to just show up to your Zoom meeting, but the expectation is that you're asking them to participate and to provide feedback back to you, okay? And that is so crucial and so key when it comes to holding our students' attention and participation. So making sure that they know that they're not just here hanging out, turning off their cameras, sleeping away, but instead that you're going to ask them to participate and you're going to expect something more of them, which is really wonderful, especially with our older kids. We want to make sure that they know that, you know what, skipping class today is not going to be an option because we want you. We want to hear from you. We want your participation. This is an open collaborative space for all of us to learn together as a class, just like we would in a physical classroom setting. So a little bit about some of our content that might be of interest to you guys at CSTA is that we do have actual technology application lessons. So as you can see on my screen, we have over 57 technology application lessons for grades 6 through 12. As you can see, just these are some screenshots. We're going to let you, once you get those 4 months of gold access, you can explore all of these lessons, but some quick screenshots about them. We've got introduction to JavaScript for coding. We've got keyboarding practice for our students with partnership of Typesy. So again, you have access to all of these lessons that you are able to utilize how is, but also be able to 100% modify these and add your own platforms or your own activities that you've been utilizing already within a Nearpod lesson. So again, here are some more of our lessons, just a quick screenshot. I will show you this live here in a little bit. But as you can see, again, within this, you've got what's included in this specific set. This is just one of our many sets. We've got hundreds of sets for you guys, but I want you to know that there's hardware and software, digital communication tools, databases, file organization and management, operation systems, troubleshooting problems, security threats, the impact of technology, data analysis. So again, you can utilize these with your students. You can make them more rigorous if you choose to. You can make them less rigorous if you choose to, and make sure that it's applicable for all of your students, no matter the grade level and the content in which you're teaching. Perfect. On top of that, just letting you know that we also do have keyboarding content and requirements with our partnership in Type C. So again, I want you to know that you do have access to all of these lessons for your students K through 12th grade. I know that this is so important specifically right now, especially for the little ones who might not have typing proficiency just yet, and being at home for remote learning, this could be a little bit difficult. So again, knowing that you can definitely lower the rigor, but also up the rigor if you choose to. It's up to you and your discretion to really modify all of these lessons that we have that are ready to run. You can definitely just use them the way they are. But I know as a former teacher, it's always difficult to teach someone else's content. And this is our content here at the Nearpod curriculum department. We have created this in partnership with lots of top publishers. You're going to see Desmos Calculators is one of our partnerships, Newzella, ReadWorks, LearnZillion, PhET Simulations, Type C, CodeMonkey, Smithsonian, Common Sense Education. So again, we want to make sure we're partnering with them because we know these are top publishers that you already use. And so why not provide you with that access through Nearpod to their platform and their content and curriculum as well. As I mentioned, we do have specific lessons with CodeMonkey where students can actually practice their coding within the actual lesson. So please note, again, K through 12th grade, we've got bundles. You can see that we are bundling through K through 2nd grade, 3rd through 8th grade, 9th through 12th grade. And each bundle has a specific set of lessons, 20 lessons, 21 lessons, 8 lessons. This is just one of our partnerships. So again, showing you guys all that you will have access to once you have gotten that, again, CSTA Plus membership, and you have access to our 4 months of Gold Nearpod. And so lastly, I know I've been talking a lot about Nearpod, but I also want to let you guys know that Flocabulary is part of our Nearpod company. So we are now one company. We acquired Flocabulary, if you've ever heard of them before. Flocabulary is wonderful. We are now one, and it is so amazing. I do want to make sure that I highlight to you that you also will have access to some of our Flocabulary videos. And so again, you also will have access by becoming a CSTA Plus member to 3 months of free Flocabulary. And this is going to be crucial for you guys because there are endless opportunities with Flocabulary. So let me just give you a quick overview of what Flocab is. If you're like, what is it? She's saying vocabulary? What is she saying? It is a Flocabulary, which means that the reason why it's called the Flocabulary is because this content actually provides you with standards aligned K through 12th curriculum, and it introduces and teaches the standards aligned content by flowing, rapping, but also promoting academic vocabulary. Okay, so again, what you're going to see is that our videos are just the tip of the iceberg, as you can see right now. Oh, great question, Minos. You recently purchased a license of Nearpod. Does it include Flocabulary? So if you have a standalone teacher license, it does not include Flocabulary, but you can actually tack on the 3 months that you will get free of Flocabulary and use them simultaneously. And then if you choose to want to add Flocabulary to your Nearpod license, you can definitely do that. Perfect. So on top of that, what you're going to see is I actually took a screenshot of just simply, we have over 700 videos for you, but this is just a screenshot of our technology and engineering videos. Again, for CSTA, we wanted to really highlight all of our computer science and technology resources that you guys are able to utilize and embed into your Nearpod lessons when introducing and teaching brand new content and material to your students. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick example of one of our videos at Flocabulary. So I'm going to go ahead and select this device only. As a teacher, you have the ability to embed any video, a YouTube video, a Flocab video, a Nearpod video, one of your own Screencastify videos into your Nearpod lesson, and your students will be able to interact with that video. Now, as a teacher, you can actually push out this video to all of your students. in which case you can put a timer and have your students watch the video independently if you choose to, and then have come back as a whole class. But I always like trying my very best to replicate what a physical classroom setting would look like. And so I'm going to go ahead and select this device only as if we were in a physical classroom setting and I was projecting this onto the projector. And so I'm going to give you just a snippet. I'm going to play this for you and show you exactly what an example of one of our many engineering and technology videos at Flocabulary that you can embed and utilize in your Nearpod lesson.
Hungry and you haven't had dinner yet. I'm about to serve food for thought on the internet, so you understand, and it doesn't make your head hurt. The first thing we need to do is define a network. Any two computers connected that can communicate, make up a network, man. Examples include a computer lab at school or computers in the office. Yeah, that's true. Networks can be connected with wires or wirelessly, whatever you desire. The internet is a worldwide network composed of smaller networks. I'm an expert. Underground fiber optic cables are the coolest. They connect networks throughout the U.S. and cables at the bottom of oceans. Listen here, they connect networks across the hemispheres. That's the only reason someone in Iraq or another hemisphere can watch the weekend rap. And one more thing that might sound like a fable. Sometimes sharks try to troop through a cable. Don't make your neck jerk. And now you know the internet is the world's largest computer network. But how does a device like a tablet access the internet? Sounds like magic, but no magician, so don't get nervous. There's a system that works like a delivery service. In order to send something to someplace, you need to know where it starts and where it will go. So for your device to access a website, kids, you need an address for where the website lives. And everything that receives and sends information also has an address, kind of like a location. The address is called its internet protocol, IP address for short, opposite of tall, but you don't need to know the IP address, you just need to know the domain name to gain access. The domain name is the website's name. Type it in your browser, it's a part of the game. Once you make a request on your device, routers send it flying like kites. A router is a device that transmits data between different networks. It happens behind the scenes. The data goes to a server best known as the computer that can fulfill the request. The request can take one of many paths, and once it's delivered, the server responds back. The response will probably take a different path back to you depending on the traffic, like when you're in a vehicle. Right in front of you, with all this information, what will you do? The internet lets everyone connect. Communication from here to Tibet.
All right, let me put my headphones back in. I think my mic is a little bit better sounding. Perfect. So again, that is just one example. We have over 700 different examples, K through 12th grade, all core curriculums, plus social emotional learning. One thing that I really liked, again, I taught high school Spanish. And so again, finding, information for me was sometimes a little bit more difficult. So again, please note that we have so much access. We have foreign language stuff. We've got current events. I loved using the Flocabulary current events. Every Friday, we would listen to it. And then my students were up to speed with what was going on in the world in general. And it's fun and it's engaging for all students. So please note that you will have access to this and you can embed that into any of your Nearpod lessons if you choose to. And then lastly, what I do want to show you really quickly as I kind of lower my screen back here is I want to also show you that not only do you have access to videos at Flocabulary, again, Flocabulary, the videos itself are just the tip of the iceberg. What you're going to see is that with your Flocab access, you also have access, and you can actually interact with this as a student because I have embedded a website into my Nearpod lesson. You're going to see that we've got access to all of these wonderful activities on the left-hand side. So here you can play the video for your students. Notice that you have original speed, slower speed, slowest speed. You can actually turn on discuss mode, which means that when you play the video, maybe you play it once whole through, then turn on discuss mode and play it again second time, and it's going to automatically pause and ask questions to your students that your students can now answer aloud in a collaborative space. On top of that, you're going to see that again with vocabulary, we not only do not lower the rigor is still there, it's still standards aligned, but we want to make sure that we're promoting that academic terminology. That's really impressive and supportive. So we always try to at least put 8 to 10 different vocabulary terms in each unit. So again, 700 lessons, 10 vocab cards each lesson. That's a lot of new terminology that your student, I can't do the math, could you tell? I was like, wait, 700, that's a lot. Okay, it's just a lot of vocab terminology that your students will have access to. And what I love so much about this is that, again, for your students that might be EL learners, you can actually select any of the vocab words such as action. It provides you with the definition and an example sentence, and the students can actually type in their own translation if they want to. So typing here, and then on top of that, they can save it, and they can also draw an example for our visual learners. So again, I'm just gonna go like this. Here we are, I can save it, and now this will always stay with me. So my students can always go back to their vocab cards that support them with translations and or visual representation of each term. On top of that, we have a vocab game, which is super fun. Students get to answer the actual game by utilizing their answer responses from the vocab card. So again, if I do this, I actually am gonna undo this. There we go. So I can actually put this in. If I get it right, I can continue on. I'm just guessing. Clearly, I got it wrong. Perfect. Maybe I try a little more. Oh, it's going to let me go one more time. All right. So as I keep getting these right, I'm not reading them, but it is telling me the right answer. I want you to know that over time, if I get these right and I get to the next specific portion, it will add a new instrument. So now I'm making my own music, I'm making my own composition, and the goal is to use my academic terminology. 17 questions left to hit all of the different instruments. Again, we also know that reading and responding is super important for our students. So with your vocabulary access, not only do you get the videos, the academic vocab cards, and the vocab game, but you get reading and response. So your students can actually read aloud, and then on top of that, they can answer any questions that they that are presented to them. And on top of that, for any of our students that might need some text-to-speech support, we do have text-to-speech support through Microsoft Immersive Reader, in which case your students can actually
imagine that you're playing a game with your friend Ty, and suddenly Ty sneezes. What?
So again, they have access within Nearpod and vocabulary to text-to-speech support automatically with any single slide or activity that has text on it. On top of that, as a foreign language teacher and an EL specialist, in the upper right-hand corner, we also do have reading preferences, in which case your students can utilize this to translate the whole entire document to over 40 plus languages. So right here, whether it's in Nearpod or vocabulary, it has now been translated to Spanish and can be text-to-speech read
que estás jugando un juego con tu amigo Tai y de repente Tai estornuda.
So again, just telling you about all of the opportunities you have when it comes to accessibility features in Nearpod so that you guys can make sure that you are supporting your students no matter the circumstances to the best of your ability. And then of course we have a quiz. Again, 10 questions, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then the last portion, which is what teachers really love, is that actually we have our lyric labs. So these activities actually go in the order of Bloom's taxonomy. So again, it gets harder and harder based off the activity, just like Bloom's does, it gets more rigorous. And the last portion of Bloom's is create. So students are able to actually utilize their specific academic terminology. So again, here are my vocab words, maybe code, and I can start creating my own rap, right? We're creating based off the information that I was given. I don't know because I'm not a rapper, but I'm going to go ahead and say I love code. And then because I'm using my academic vocab card, I can now get rhymes, and it has pre-created a rhyme generator for me. So my next line could say, it leads me down the right road. That doesn't make sense, but we're going to pretend. And then of course that means I've used road, and I can press next. As I keep going, you want to try to utilize as much as you can from the vocab words. And then of course you do, as a performer, you do have different types of raps in which you can record over. So again, you can have your students create a wonderful wrap based off the information you've provided them, and then they can present and perform it in front of their class, even remotely. All right, so there's vocabulary for you. I know it's a lot. Please note that you have access to all of this, and it's super fun and engaging for your students. And all of this will be graded for you as well. You do not have to grade it as a teacher, so you can just simply go to your reports and you can have access to all of those reports as well. Now, I know I mentioned to you that we've got, of course, the opportunity for you to embed not only websites or interactive activities like polls, collaborate boards, draw it, open-ended questions, but you also have the opportunity with those videos that you can embed from YouTube or FlowCab or Nearpod or your own desktop computer. You can actually take it from a passive experience to an active learning experience, and you yourself can go in and you can actually push out specific content or specific questions, formative assessments that you want your students to answer while they are watching the video. Okay, so please note that you have that opportunity, and here's an example of what it would look like. So as you can see, here's the video that I have collected from Nearpod about women in science and technology. As you can see, there are 4 dots here, which are my 4 check for understandings within the 6-minute video. We're only going to watch about 20 seconds of this video just so that you can experience what it looks like from the student and teacher's perspective.
Today, 73% of the field of computer science is comprised of men, but women have a long history in computing, so why don't we know their stories? And how did the number of women in the field drop so low?
Boom. Now on your end as a student, you can see side by side, it's pushing out an open-ended question. So it says, what do you already know about women in computer science? Your students can actually type their response here. And when they press submit, then me as a teacher, I get their participation. 10% of my class has participated. So again, my waiting game is pretty easy for me. I can just wait for my 100% participation. And I also get to see, yay, went down in the 1980s. Thank you, Mary. I also get to see all of my students' responses here right now. And if I see a wonderful response, Naomi, I love this, I can share it out with the rest of the class. So I'm gonna go ahead and press share. And now you're seeing one of your peers' responses on your screen as a student, but it's 100% anonymous, which is wonderful. You don't know who it is. So I, as a teacher, get the autonomy to choose if I want to call out Naomi or if I want to completely keep it anonymous to show non-examples and examples, whole class to the classroom. So again, we've got about 13 minutes left. And so I kind of wanted to show you some examples of all that you can do within Nearpod. I know I showed you that we already have pre-existing lessons that you can utilize and alter and modify if you choose to, but I also want you guys to know that you have the opportunity to create it from scratch. So if you happen to dig into our Nearpod library and you're thinking to yourself, dang it, I just don't see, I know we've got some suggestions on who we should partner with, which I love. I'm going to take that back to our content specialists and our partner team. I do want you guys to know that if for some reason you're not seeing something that you like, for instance, I've got Jose here saying, hey, my sleepless nights are gone thanks to this song. Everything I've been trying to teach my freshmen in cybersecurity class in this song, amazing. So again, cybersecurity, we have lessons on that, but if for some reason it's a topic or a unit in which you're not finding it for some reason, first, I highly suggest reaching out to me. I can probably find it a little bit faster for you, but if we don't have it, I want you to know that you can create from scratch, going all the way back to the very beginning of what we already discussed. You can create anything from scratch. Now, you can either create it within Nearpod or you can use what you've already created on your own. Any Google Slides or PowerPoints, you can just sprinkle in some Nearpod interactivity for you. And from there, you'll have the opportunity to make your specific lessons come to life and have it more engaging, more interaction, more participation. And then, of course, all of that's being saved, not only in real time, with real-time data, but in a nice, pretty report for you to utilize and refer back to when you're starting to actually plan for that data-driven instruction that you're about to teach maybe next week or the previous or the following weeks or days as well. So with our 10 minutes left, of course, I already showed you a quick example. I was going to go through one more example, but it is again on volcanoes, which is not necessarily CSTA aligned. But what I would love to do is probably provide you with more time so that I know it's the end of the day. I'll end it right here. I think you guys got a really good idea of all that you can do within Nearpod. You see that I will go back to this specific 1 second slide so I can show you. You see that you have over 20 plus ways to enhance your daily instruction. So again, when it comes to formative assessments, you can insert a collaborate board, you can insert a quiz that's going to be graded for you and the students immediately. You can actually take any of those quizzes and you can change it into an interactive gamified quiz, a very Kahoot styled activity, but it's called Time to Climb. You have the opportunity to have a whiteboard. That's something really, really important that I would love for you guys to be able to experience, that I'll show you here in a little bit. If you've ever utilized those whiteboards in your classroom, I know I did. This is an electronic version of that. So if you want to go ahead and put a graphic organizer, a worksheet, an image as the background, your students will then be able to draw on top of it, connecting dots, filling in a worksheet, typing in a passage, anything you want it to be. You will get that information right there in real time as they're interacting with your worksheet, your graphic organizer, or any prompt or question that you have provided them. We also have a partnership with Flipgrid. So if you want to do some project-based learning, or you like some videos, your students can create a video on their own and submit that response to you via Flipgrid. And we also have some audio responses as well. So students who might be, again, K through 8th grade, those students who might be not so proficient in typing, they could still participate in your open-ended questions by verbally responding. They have the opportunity to record their answer to you and then, or their question, and submit that, and you in real time get to listen to it and answer those questions if they choose. And then of course with our media, you saw a lot of the fun stuff that we get to do here again. So for the next 3 minutes, what I would like to show you, just again in the mindset of volcanoes, I do just want to quickly show you what the virtual reality field trips look like. So you as a student can really explore. You can take your students to over 350,000 destinations. Again, for STEM purposes, this is wonderful. Taking students to a skate park to talk about kinetic and potential energy, taking students to college campuses for college tours, taking students to, technology companies. We've got access to over 350,000 destinations. So you can definitely build that schema and or bring that real world relevance into the classroom walls if you choose to. And then of course, I do want to show you just 2 more of those features. That Draw It feature, that was the whiteboard feature I wanted to make sure to show you. Please note that here you also have access to that Microsoft Immersive Reader. And I see Naomi's working away. I love that. What you can do is you can go ahead and start drawing and labeling. Here's my lava coming out of my volcano. Maybe I want to circle where my little vent is here, because that's what my teacher taught me today. I can do that if I choose. Maybe I'm a little bit scared because volcanoes freak me out. I can go ahead and use my Google Safe Search, and I can insert for my teacher a little bit of my Home Alone scaredy cat self. And of course, I also am able to type as well. So for ELA purposes, you could put a passage as the background and students can now annotate. So again, maybe for coding purposes, you put a coding program or of course a problem there, and they can identify where the mistakes are and circle it and highlight it as well. So endless amounts of opportunity here as well. I love it. Naomi, this is beautiful. You guys are doing great. Nancy, I love that. Yes. A crater, Rachel, thank you. And so as you can see, I am able to watch my students working in real time. I can identify those misconceptions and that comprehension all within a remote setting or even a physical classroom setting if I happen to go back to actual physical teaching as well. And then I know we're having so much fun, but I want to show you one more thing that I think will be really, really important to you guys. We've got, again, more of our features are open-ended question. I know I told you that students can respond both verbally and written, but I wanted to show you what that looks like from a student's perspective. You as the teacher can also add in any reference media. So as a student, you can see in the upper left right-hand corner, I've actually, as a teacher, put out an article. So maybe I want my students to read an article on their own independently. They can read this article, and when they're done reading it, they can go back to the Nearpod lesson and either type their response, or they can audio record their response and then submit that recording and that submission to me. And as the teacher, I get that automatic response where I can listen to the recordings in real time or afterwards in a post-session report, and also share out any wonderful responses that I have found. And then lastly, I do want to let you guys know that we do have, again, post-session reports. I know I keep talking to you about these post-session reports, and I feel like many of you guys have already seen our real-time data that you get while you're teaching. But I do want you to know that we do have reports, and they are able to be downloaded in CSV file or in PDF file. These reports are also able to be downloaded whole class, where you're getting your whole entire class's submissions, or for an IEP meeting or a parent-teacher conference, you can also download just one student individually and all of their submissions in a specific lesson if you choose. And then, of course, email that or show that to an administrator or a co-teacher, a paraprofessional, or a parent as well. So lastly, we're going to end here, and I would love for you guys to tell me your wow moment. I know I just fed you the Nearpod buffet. There was so much I have to show you, but please know that it's a buffet. It's open 24/7, so you can just take small portions of it and add it to your plate, and when you're ready for more, come back, and we've always got more for you. So go ahead and let me know what engaging media or interactive activity or even lesson are you most excited about using. And if you happen to have any more burning questions, I'd be more than happy to support you there as well. And then I see some questions in the chat, so I'm going to read through them really quickly and then make sure that I can answer them for you. Yes, John. Okay, perfect. Kate, thank you so much for responding to some of these questions already. Are the media ones only available when you create in, or are they available in? No, you can actually create in Google Slides. I'll show you that here, Mary, 1 second. Does it give you suggestions when you access field trips? No, it actually doesn't give, well, I take that back. Yes, there are definitely like the top featured ones are going to be at the very top that you can kind of sift through. But other than that, you can really just type in any destination, and then you'll see that there's 350,000 destinations, so you can just filter down our library for your use. Can you mention the notes part of Nearpod? Yeah, for sure. Can you embed a website such as Scratch and Repel It? Yes, absolutely. You can definitely embed any website. So if you want to put in Scratch or Repel It, by all means, you can do that for sure. If you are wanting to know how to do that, I know we just ran out of time because there's so much to be able to teach you, but I'm going to go ahead and provide you guys with my email here, and I would love for you to email me any questions you have, and I would love nothing more than to either type out an email with images for you or provide you a tutorial, or you and I can hop on a Zoom, and I'd be more than happy to support you that way as well. So if you're looking for my email, it is in the Zoom chat. Copy, paste it, take a picture of it, do whatever you need to do. Don't lose it, and I'll be more than happy to support you there. And then lastly, I know you guys are posting in the chat and also in the Collaborate board. I'm so excited as my little exit ticket here. I'm going to them in 1 second, but I do want to make sure, just for Mary's purposes, that I do show you the notes section. So I did tell you guys that you would have access to my resources and my lesson. And so in order to gain access, this is also the same way your students will be able to gain access to your content and your curriculum if you want to share it with them. On the student side, as John asked, yes, the student section is right here on the right. You should see in the upper right-hand corner a notepad and a pen icon. If you see that notepad and pen icon, that allows for both you and your students to be able to take notes throughout a Nearpod lesson. So you're going to either choose whether you want to save my slide deck, my presentation, to your Google Drive, your OneDrive, or just save it in your email inbox. I always go inbox, but it's up to you. Your students can do the same thing as well. And once I press enter, now not only am I getting access to this specific presentation, but I can actually type notes. Oh my gosh, Nearpod is so cool. And then these notes will actually be provided attached to this individual slide in my inbox or my Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive, wherever you've chosen to save it. So your students can take notes while you're teaching them. And on top of that, all of their notes will be saved to each individual slide. If you want to minimize the notes, you can simply just select that notepad icon and the notes will disappear temporarily. And then the actual presentation will maximize as well. So I'm going to go ahead and read through some of these wow moments. Field trips, yes. VR, yes. Having questions during videos, absolutely. A lesson library, yes. Pieces of customization, absolutely. Instant feedback is wonderful. Being able to have quizzes with videos. Oh, thank you, John, for putting that in the Collaborate board. I appreciate it. Yay, awesome. I'm going to dig into the library and see if I can avoid reinventing the wheel. Yes, don't have to start from scratch, reinvent the wheel, or even utilize what we've got for you and customize it. You can actually merge some stuff. So if you have a lesson that you want to merge with a Nearpod lesson, can join them for sure. That's a little bit more of an advanced tip and trick. So if you want that, just email me and I can support you there as well. Yay, this is wonderful. Instant feedback, great lesson. Wonderful, guys. You guys rock. One little thing I want to show you that I never got to show you, as I know it is 5 o'clock, is simply that down on the Collaborate board, there is an image icon. So for some of our students, I know, John, you teach K through 8th grade. Some of our kiddos that maybe when it comes to written response, it's a little bit difficult. They can actually use our Google Safe Search. So if I wanted to, I could say, awesome. And then boom, there we are. I can actually post an image using our Google Safe Search onto the Collaborate board. So again,
That's awesome.
Yeah, just a fun way to get your students to be able to participate and interact with everything. Awesome. Yay, Naomi. I like that. You guys rock. Okay, well, that's all I got for you. I know that was a lot. There's so much more I could still teach you. So again, this was just a very, 101 buffet styled specific session. It is being recorded. You will have access to this. And then of course, don't forget that if you want your access to FlowCab and to Nearpod, you have to become a CSTA Plus member, in which case when you, if you've hopefully got my resources by utilizing the email notes page, you will have access to this home page where CSTA, where you can actually register for your free access as well.
Oh my gosh. I am like amazed. I had no idea. I feel like after the video, I was like, this is amazing. Marcella, thank you so much. I feel like our minds are just kind of blown here. I will follow up with this recording, Marcella's email, the link to the CSTA Plus benefit. If you're not a Plus member, just email me. I'll give you a discount. I want to help out as much as I can. You all are great for joining us. It's 7 o'clock here. So I'm just thankful everyone for joining. But yeah, we'll go ahead and send out this information later this week. But I feel like we're good to close. And Marcella, thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining. Oh my gosh, 8 p.m. Everyone's really great. And I feel very energized and like, I'm like, oh, how can I use this? Like, I love it. So thank you all, everyone. And great presentation, Marcella. Hands and snaps.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. I know someone said, hey, how do you have so much energy right now? Honestly, a lot of coffee, but also I just want you to know that I get energized every time I get to support you guys. You guys are the ones that are really at the front lines of all of this remote learning. And so we just want you to know here at Nearpod that like we do everything we possibly can to make our platform as best as it possibly can for you. So if you have suggestions, please let us know. We are constantly making our platform better for you. And we just get energized seeing how much you guys are spending at 8 p.m. at night to get better for your students. I mean, like, how can I not have energy when it comes to supporting you guys? So thank you so much for everything you do.
Oof, well said. Well, thank you so much. And don't worry, we'll share out all the information, slide deck and Marcella's email. So if you miss something, you'll be able to ask her all the questions. So thanks everyone. Have a great evening and I'll follow up with resources shortly. Thank you. Be safe out there.
Bye.
Bye.